All right. Well, good morning, everyone. Let me get my notes up here so I see what I wrote down about astrology for today. Well, anyway, I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune for, what is this, the 15th day? Yes, of January 2020. So a 1 energy for the month. So that's new beginnings. A 15 is a 6 energy then. So higher self influences today, harmony, all of that, thinking about more than just yourself. A 22 energy for the year, so master builder. So I don't know. I think maybe this promises to be a good day. I mean, if you look at the 1 and the 6 together, that's a 7, so that's balance. There's also inherent balance within 22. So maybe some things will start to come into balance for you today. That might be interesting. Let's see. Oh, I just posted a video on YouTube and I put it everywhere. Facebook, the Stepping Aside's Facebook page, Twitter, Pinterest, which I'll go and I'll actually do it on the business one so you can actually watch it there. They'll probably take that one. They didn't take the green cultured one, unfortunately, so they have to look at them and be sure they want it on the platform. I don't know why they didn't want that one, but anyway, probably because it's cannabis related, but it's an online university. You know, if you need your cannabis training, use green culture. It's a great place. You're going to actually end up, if you end up working in the industry somehow, some way, either as a bud tender or a grower or, you know, as a dispensary technician, what have you, or owning a dispensary, you know, to get the training, you're going to be better for your customers. You're going to have a better business. So, you know, there's links to it below. Go and check it out. I highly recommend it. I've looked at their courses. They're very well done, and you can't beat the training that they offer. The other thing, but that isn't what I did the video about that I posted everywhere. That was about the Genius Bloggers Toolkit from Ultimate Bundles, and I did buy that, by the way. And it's everything they said it is. So if you're trying to grow your blog, you're trying to learn how to do that, you know, I did it just by the seat of my pants, you know, 7 years ago. And now when I look at the stuff that they have here for me, it's like, okay, I actually know what they're talking about. So there's that advantage, you know, that if you've been struggling or you've been just sort of winging it all this time, you know, but this is a really great product. It's $97. It's got almost $7,400 worth of stuff. There's, 55 e-courses. There's one on the new Gutenberg. If you use WordPress, then you know that you can use the classic editor, but I don't know. I've just loved this thing ever since it came out, and I'm just thrilled with it. So to have a course on it, and it looks like a good one. So, but there's stuff on Pinterest, how to work on Pinterest and Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and just on affiliate marketing. There's a course I think on Amazon, or maybe it's an ebook. I don't know. But there's ebooks and there's e-courses and just all kinds of stuff. It really, I was just surprised. So. Well, I wasn't, because I've been an affiliate. These were one of the first people I was an affiliate for. So when I expanded off of Amazon. So in any event, check it out. Again, it's only going to be available through tomorrow night. And so it's just a 2-day flash sale. It was from last year. And so they're just bringing it back one more time. And I'm so grateful because I was able to get it. And because I certainly wouldn't have wanted to miss out on it. And anyway, the link is below here. And also, you know, check out the little video I did. That's always fun. And happy blogging, you know. It's not easy. I started out just thinking, oh, no ads, no nothing. It's just a work of my mind and my soul. Then I wrote a book. And I published it on Amazon, and the rest is history, affiliate history. So anyhow, let's see, the cold is still in effect. And although both of us are on the downward swing of it. So anyhow, little coffee though. So anyhow, let's see. I think I've shuffled enough, but let's go ahead and take a look at the not a lot's changed astrologically, although the moon's in the 7th house of Libra now. And good time for relationships, spend some time with your partner, all of that nonsense. So anyway, it's like, yeah. It's just that we've been in the 11th house and we're in the 4th quadrant, and we have been for so long, you know, that so much is in the 11th house, and some of it's sort of moving from the 11th to the 12th and then back again. And so it's just kind of, you know, the 10th, 11th, and 12th houses seem to be governing everything, or at least most things these days. But there's an opposition between the moon and Chiron that you might want to pay attention to. Emotions, you know, manifest within the body. And so sometimes, you know, if we're under stress, you know, then we can start having issues. And so if you feel like there's something's off, then it might be. Try to learn to control your focus, though. Here's the thing. And empaths know this because we deal in energy all the time. Everything is focus, okay? Where your thoughts go, that's going to determine a lot of things. And so if you start thinking about something that's upsetting, you're going to get upset, right? That's going to go into the body. So if you control your thoughts, then you control the rest of it. And it's where it all is. It's all mind. It's all thoughts. It's all focus. So control your thoughts and your focus and your health. And there you go. So, and that's, of course, you know, not including, you know, external factors like pathogens you might encounter or something like that. But the things that we cause ourselves, you can control a lot of that just by where you place your focus. So Sun's still in the 11th house of Capricorn, still conjunct Saturn, steady progress and achievement. Principled views and behavior, though. And again, a conjunct with Pluto. Same sort of thing. Listen to your inner voice, and if something's off, likely it is, you're going to want to address those things before they get worse. So Mercury's still in the 11th house of Capricorn, Venus 12th house Pisces, excuse me, Mars 9th house Sagittarius. Again, Jupiter 11th house Capricorn, Saturn 11th house Capricorn. So again, lots of stuff in Capricorn. Lots of stuff in the 11th house. So I guess that's, really just not a lot has changed. Again, though, pay attention to the inner voice. If something feels off, it likely is. And see what that's really about. If it's your health, don't ignore anything. This is the time of the year where, you know, you're really starting to kind of get prepared for the spring, and you know, you want to maybe get a health checkup with your chiropractor or your naturopath or your herbalist or an allopathic doctor if that's what you go to. You know, you can, whatever you do, just sort of check in with yourself and just make sure everything's okay. And if it's not, if you know you're feeling some discomfort, don't wait, address it. So let's go ahead then and take our first 3 cards, and then when we're done with that, we'll either take a 4th if we think we need it. Lately, we haven't needed it. And then we'll draw a rune from the rune bag and see what the Elder Futhark has to say. And we'll close out then with Geomancy rune, sort of to tie it all together or to discover the outlier. So a lot of times, though, the Geomancy rune ends up being what's at the heart or foundation of whatever the difficulty is. So anyhow, let's get started and take our first 3 cards. If this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you so much for coming by. Click subscribe. I'd love you to do that and come back. Check out my blog over at imsteppingaside.com. It's called Stepping Aside, and it's a wish blog and an herbalism blog and a metaphysics blog and all of that. And sign up for the newsletter. That link's below the video. There's also, it's all over the place at the blog. Sign up for that. That's new this year. I warned everybody I'm going to do something different. Well, that's it. It's going to be a newsletter, an email newsletter. I think it turned out pretty well, and it's kind of a work in progress. So I hope that you enjoy that. If you're one of my subscribers, thank you so much. I appreciate you more than you could ever know. Thank you for taking the plunge right away with me, and I appreciate it. I really do. And also, I have a Patreon page if you want to sign up for a tier and support my work. It just helps defray blog costs. It's not, anything massive. The tiers are range from $1 to $5. So there's a $1, $3, and $5 tier you can sign up for if you want to support me over on Patreon. And there is some stuff over there that's just for Patreon people. Some of it I'll do it and then I'll say, okay, then it'll be public in so many days or whatever. And then some stuff I just cross post. So just so people can see what I do. But eventually that's going to narrow down. And if you don't have a tier, then you won't see a lot of stuff. So anyhow, or you won't be able to see stuff first before everybody else. That's the other fun part about Patreon is you can see stuff before everybody else gets to. So anyhow, there's that. So anyhow, let's go ahead and get started and take our first 3 cards. Ooh, 11, 12, 13. Let's see which was the one that jumped out. The one that tried to jump out was the Magician. We'll put him back. Well, we have the 7 of Swords. Leveling the playing field. Let's just set that down. We won't spend a whole lot of time until I get them all laid out here to really talk about them. Then we'll get them in the order we want them to see what the focal point is or what the most influence is going to be. How we're going to structure this today. And yeah, you can move your cards around. It's your reading. You can do whatever you want with it. And as everybody who's been here before knows, I take the 13th card each time for randomness sake. We have these 7, another 7. Got a pattern here, don't we? Chariot. Well, so far we kind of have balance in both, don't we? Coming to some kind of an equilibrium. I don't know if that has to do with the House impeachment managers being named today. My husband's been sticking his head in here while I've been getting ready to do the video going, yeah, they just said this person, they just said that person. So I don't know. Might have to do with that. Let's do the 3rd card though. Balance. Today we have Justice, the 11th card of the major arcana. Well, this is going to be interesting. So I don't really know what to say here other than I think we will have the 7 of Swords be the center card today. I mean, we could put the 11 here. Let's do that. Let's instead of having, I'm only going to give the Chariot the same weight as the 7 of Swords simply because of the 7, okay? Excuse me. It does not have the same weight because it's a major card. But Justice is something that we're kind of involved in right now, aren't we? With the impeachment and all of that. I mean, he's been impeached. That can't change. He's been impeached. So the question is, what happens now? Does he get thrown out? What's going to happen here? Will he ultimately do what Nixon did and resign? Will it end up being like the Clinton impeachment, where Clinton was impeached but not found guilty by the Senate? Given what it was about, the content of it, yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense. But the content of this is different. And now with the recent things that we found out last night from that one guy, Parnas, from his phone and his stuff that they have now, that the House committees have, what they seem to be doing with Ambassador Yovanovitch is scary. So we may have actually reached a different point here with respect to justice. Up till now, it seemed like nobody's doing what they need to be doing, what they should be doing, what their job requires them to do in the Senate. But that may change with what came out last night. That was just astonishing. So So I think that we have issues of justice. Now, if it's happening in our life where we've been dealing with maybe some legal issues or some fairness or balance or whatever, it could be as well. But I feel like there's such a synchronicity within this reading itself that this is likely what's going on in the country. But not necessarily. So we'll try to do this from both perspectives. So let's start with justice. We have the 11th card of the major arcana. 11 is the master number for illumination. So again, we're learning some things, excuse me, things that we're bringing, things are coming to light, issues of justice for us. But it's a higher perspective, isn't it? You know, especially with the weight of two major cards here. The 7, which is the Chariot, the 7th card of the major arcana. Now, the Chariot's an interesting one. Here we have the King in a chariot. They're at rest. You see the Sphinxes down below. Now, that can represent polarity. It can represent the balance between dark and light. It can represent allowing and control. So you can understand, you know, the total nature of this. We're not talking really either or here. We're talking about two sides of the same coin, basically, with the Chariot. You can see his crown has a large star or sun on it, however you want to see that. You see Merkabahs on the cloth above his head and behind him. You see the triple aspects, really, with this part here being implied in the center. You have the moons, both crescent moons on the shoulder. You have the cube on his breastplate. Structure, foundation, the earth element. You see the kingdom in the background, and you see it in balanced fashion, though, don't you? Everything is in balance. You see the winged sun above the shield with the dreidel on the center. And the dreidel isn't turned over, is it? It's balanced. So the Chariot really is about movement. It's about mastery. But it's also about knowing when to let go and to take control. And here, he's just at rest. So you could almost think that it's indicative of the scales. Now, we said today that if we put January with 15, so then now you have a 7 energy, which could indicate here, the 7, the Chariot itself. And so maybe today we come to rest and we allow whatever information to settle out and to find the truth that we need so that justice can be preserved. Now, what we could do is we could put the 7 of Swords first, because I think we should. And we probably should have talked about that before the Chariot, but here we're going to level the playing field. Now, again, we see the demarcation line between what is and what was. We see that the swords over here are on the other side of that demarcation line, aren't they? And we see the tents of the soldiers over here. We see some soldiers over here. And this guy here is likely from the town. And so they know that the king's men are coming. And they know what's going to happen when they get there. And so what's happening here, they're changing the plans, aren't they? They're balancing the playing field, leveling the playing field. This is why I think this has to do with the impeachment process. What McConnell has been doing is and Graham and all of those folks, they've been trying to suggest that they're not going to be impartial jurors. Well, they can't sit for the trial, right? If you've already said that you're going to vote, whatever, you're not going to listen. You're not going to do your due diligence and do your duty. You're just going to vote no. Then you can't sit on the jury, right? You get disqualified. Personally, I think that's what they're trying to do. I think they're trying to get themselves thrown off so they don't have to vote. It's cowardly. It's not doing what they should be doing. They know what needs to happen here. But Enter this little guy whose lawyer seems to be trolling the president on Twitter continually. Hashtag Lev remembers, hashtag let Lev speak. It's hilarious. But is that what the Seven of Swords is suggesting? Because it's information, isn't it? That we've gleaned over just the last, since yesterday. It's being published, it's being put out, we're seeing it. And the conversations that were happening, the letters that were written, the notes that were taken, the stuff on WhatsApp, I don't even know what that is. Something to do with Facebook, I think. I don't know what it is. But they're communicating back and forth, and we see the communications now. And in a sense, they've been trying to get this. The judge let him do it, right? I think they let him do it once. Now they let him do it again, give more stuff. But it's to level the playing field. You've got someone who's trying to get out of accepting responsibility for his behavior. It's resulted in his impeachment as president. And now we have to decide what we're going to do about it. Are we going to remove him from office? Or are we going to let him finish out this term and let the voters decide? What are we going to do here? You know, what's going to happen? He's already impeached. So now it's kind of interesting, you know, that we get all this new information just now. The day before they're sending this stuff over to the Senate, making, you know, just declaring who the managers are going to be, and because they're going to be the ones that are going to present the case, right? And so by this time next week, we're likely going to be a trial, and we're going to be watching that. But what it's felt like is whatever machinations that McConnell and his crew are trying to do. Like a little guy by the name of Lev Parnas has thrown a monkey wrench into all of it by leveling the playing field. And by preventing them, and the other thing that's happened is you've got some Republicans who are senators now saying, well, no, we want to hear witnesses. Because they weren't even going to have them. They were just going to shut the thing down before it ever started. But now, as you see, as more things come out, the playing field is a little more level, and people are beginning to rethink their positions and maybe gaining a little more courage, and they're going to do what they're going to do. Now, if for some reason that something like this is going on in your personal life, well, that's wacky. But if it is, then I'm sorry. But you have a day here where, and I think for the foreseeable future, where depending on how you look at this, whatever it is that's going on in your life, if you take a step back and you allow things to settle, you allow things to wait, you know, for things to just sort of gel, or for new information to come out or whatever. But if you do that, if you don't react, if you wait until the moment is absolutely right, then you might have a different outcome, right? Plus, it's a lesson in learning when to control and when to allow. That's a tough one, I think, for a lot of us. Tough one for me. Because I'm just one of those people, it's like, well, all right, just here, I'll do it. You know, get out of the way, I'll do it, it's fine. You know, I'll take care of it, you know. I'll make sure everything's okay. You know, if my husband needs to do something, I will make sure everything is in place for that to happen. So, I don't know. I've just always been that way. I don't know. I guess I've always cast spells. Anyway, but that's what I think that the bigger message is here. You know, if we look at, 7 and 7, we have a pattern there. So again, it's reinforcing the notion of balance. I mean, we can, 7 and 7 is 14. So that's a 5 energy. You know, we're not going to reduce the 11 with justice. We're going to leave that alone because that's a master number. But we've got change inherent here. So change, but that's based on, and we've seen that. If we're talking about the government, we've seen a change. just yesterday when Mitch McConnell came to a microphone and began speaking, it was different. So we had a little bit of a change. And again, because this was happening, he likely knew. He likely knew it was coming out. He likely knew that the jig is up. So, and maybe it was all for show. Maybe it was all to keep, the guy in the Oval Office, quiet and calm, so they don't have to deal with him. Because I have to believe that no matter what is going on here, because none of it makes any sense at all, that's got to be a component to this. It's what do we do to simply get through this till we can get on the other side of it. Problem is, because they didn't have any integrity, they're likely going to lose their seats, which is fine. They've been there too long anyway. This business of them making a lifetime career out of it I don't think it serves the country. I think term limits need to be there, and I think that you want to get elected as a senator twice. Okay, I can get that, but any more than that, 12 years is long enough, don't you think? I think for anyone, but I guess the country's going to have to make that decision, and decide where that's going to go. I don't know. Let's see what the Rune has to say, though. I'm just kind of blown away, but I'm just sitting here. I can't believe this reading. I really can't. Because if we changed it and we put the 7 in the center, the 7 of Swords, then we're leveling the playing field to achieve justice and balance. Because things are out of balance. So you could read it from that standpoint as well. Well, let's see. Come on. They want to all stay in my hand today. I got 3 that won't go. There we go. We have the final one. We have Fehu, the first rune of the Elder Futhark, so the sending energy rune. It's about cattle and movable wealth and all of that. But it's used in magic to send the energy. You can invoke it when you're working a spell. At the end of it, to then cast the energy, you can state Fehu, in strong voice and cast that energy to the universe. But basically, when we're talking about Fehu, we're talking about energy that's catalytic. It's a fire energy, and it's making things happen. And I think that there is an underlying energy, and maybe it's the 22 energy, or it's today's 11 energy, maybe, I don't know. But there's an underlying source energy that's at work here. I mean, we didn't just have little Lev Parnas saying, "Oh, hey, would you like my phone?" No, they're going to court twice to make sure it happens, and getting it to them. It was that important. When you see something like that happening in the face of all of this obstruction and nonsense, it's like, okay, so we need to pay attention to that. It's like when you see two cards from the major arcana in your reading, you got to pay attention. Higher self is tapping you on the shoulder and saying, look, things are out of balance here, and we need to level the playing field, and leveling the playing field was maybe done with Lev Parnas, right? I mean, synchronicities abound, don't they? Well, yeah, we got the end of the matter today. We've got another Cata Draconis moment. We've been having that a lot of the end of the moment, or end of the end of something. I so apologize for the end of this cold. Hopefully, I don't know. I've been doing my Ella campaign tincture. I did cold sweat tincture last night, but I did the Ella campaign this morning and the nettle. I didn't do any cold sweat though. I should have. Did some anise hyssop too. So this Cata Draconis indicates the tail of the dragon, or the south node of the moon. The south node deals with karma. Yeah. and past life stuff. Usually it's not, I mean, it can be the past, within the present life, but typically it's more associated with karma. It's one of the runes that geomancers of old, if you created the first rune you created, you'd destroy the reading, which I just think is ridiculous. But that's just me. I don't think witches would have done it. But geomancers of old were old magicians, and I don't know. What are you going to do? It's just not how I think you conduct yourself. You need to be more fearless than that. Maybe it's teaching you something here. But the idea of Kata Draconis being the end of the matter, or karma, there is a sense of ending right now, isn't there? There's a sense of look, here are the facts, and we can turn a blind eye to them if we want to, but it isn't going to serve us in the long run. So no matter what this is, if there's something that's going on in your personal life where things have just got to come to some kind of an ending now, whatever. Hang on one second here. There's something here about Chiron. What did we have that was interacting with Chiron? Oh, it was the moon opposing Chiron. That's what it was. I don't know what it is with my hair today. It's wanting to wrap itself around my glasses. And then it gets in my eyes. It's like, oh my God. Anyway. Yeah, emotions may reveal what within the body as a health problem. So I think that the stress of the unknown, the stress of what's going to happen, the stress of, oh my God, is this guy going to actually get away with this stuff? Because who will we be if he does? If it's bad enough that we're experiencing that collectively. If this is what's happening today for you, though, or has been, where you've been trying to figure some things out and you don't really know what's going on, today may be the day where things sort of settle out for you. Use the energy to go in the direction you need to go. Use the Fehu energy, the sending energy, to cast whatever intention you need to cast, to create the change in your life that you want to see. If things have not been clear for you, I think going forward they're going to be, with an emphasis on justice and balance and fairness and reason, and knowing when to take control and when to allow. Sometimes, I'm in a situation right now that I'm not happy with, and but I'm just allowing it. I'm just done trying to understand it. I'm done trying to change it. I'm done trying to figure it out. I think that people are thinking things that are ridiculous and not true. And because of that, as long as you have the perception you have, nothing's going to move. So until others are willing to, take a better look at something, or maybe like ask a question now and then instead of making assumptions. How many times do you get caught up in the assumptions of others? And you're like, well, I can only tell you what I can tell you. If you don't believe me, if you think a different way, then it is what it is. And so sometimes you just have to decide, how much is something worth inserting yourself in? Or is it just simply better to sit back and let it settle out and let people find their own way, And I guess for me, I don't know, maybe it's because of my age. That's just where I'm at right now. I'm just letting people find their own way. I'm done. Otherwise, the stress of what's going on, in the world is just too much. And, it's just something where at some point you just have to let people own their own choices and not interfere with them. And I think that other than leveling the playing field with Lev Parnas today, I don't know. Maybe that's all we do. We just level the playing field and be ready to give the information that's needed when it's needed. But not trying to control what that looks like. So that may be the best advice then for today. Allow the wounds of the past to fall away, maybe, so that they're not affecting you anymore. Transmute them into something better, into some kind of higher self perspective. The wounds of the past, when we talk about Chiron and the wounded healer, we were not stuck there. It's just information. If it's something that is difficult, well, okay, it's fine. It can be. Doesn't mean that you can't get past it. It just means that it's challenging. That's all. So, in any event, I'm going to go ahead and close out here before I lose my voice completely. Tomorrow, hopefully, will be better, and I won't cough as much. So, anyhow, again, check out get your Genius Bloggers Toolkit if you're a blogger or you're thinking about becoming one. The link's below here. The sale's on for 2 days only, ends tomorrow night. So you don't have a whole lot of time. I have it. It's awesome. I recommend it. So buy it anyhow. And if you use my link, I'll get a little bit of commission off of the sale. So thank you so much if you do that. I really, really appreciate it. And come back tomorrow and we'll talk again. Hopefully I can talk again. Anyhow, we'll see you tomorrow. Be good to yourself. Be good to one another. And blessed be.